All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about rear body lock takedowns. So if you're a beginner, okay, even to advanced, but especially beginner and intermediate, these are the takedowns you guys should really be focusing on, right? Of course, any chance you can to get behind your partner is the best position to possibly take down anybody, regardless of the size, okay? But being efficient and safe when taking your partner down is the number one thing from this position. Okay, so we've already talked about kind of like different entries to the rear body lock. I'll kind of go over some roughly. Again, rear body lock, you guys can arm drag. Okay, you guys can duck under. Okay, you can even shoot at the single leg and use that to climb to the rear body lock. Okay, there's a lot of different ways you guys can get there. But I think one of the ways that a lot of people struggle with the most is actually finishing. Even though it's the easiest position to finish a takedown from, I feel like people don't have a clear-cut system on how to approach getting their partner to the floor safely. Okay, safely meaning for yourself as far as getting into a good pinning position, but also safely so you're not hurting your training partner. Okay, so let's talk about when we get to the back. Okay, why is this? So it might, for those, if it's not obvious enough, right? For those of you wondering why it's the most efficient way. So if Nate was a lot bigger than me, anytime I have to fight him here and try to take him down from the front, okay, I'm gonna have to deal with that weight and that mass. But if you can find a way to kind of finesse and get around to the back, okay, again, it's a lot harder for Nate to defend here because I'm behind him, right? His limbs can't really reach to block me. Okay, but we have to be efficient in chaining finishes from this position, just like any other takedown position. Okay, so let's first understand what the defender wants to do to escape the rear body lock. Okay, so the defender is going to take one of two approaches. Either they're going to start fighting the hands, they're going to start pushing into the base of the hand. You see how Nate's taking a split stance. He's going to start walking forward in a slight bend in his knees like a lunge, and he's going to kind of push his back towards me as he peels the hands and turns and face. This is a little bit more of an old school approach. I don't think it's as effective against a chain wrestler, okay, but you still see people react this way. The second way, which is the way I think is the most effective when you're talking about wrestling, grappling, even MMA, is when your partner gets an elbow in, they wedge the elbow in, and they, again, take that split squat, but they're more so trying to squat down, and they're gonna try to cut the left arm through. Okay, that leaves them in a position to re-attack. So it doesn't require completely breaking the grip. Essentially, the defender puts the elbow in to weigh on the attacker's grip, and then I'm the one that's gonna let go. Okay, versus the first one, you're like trying to peel the hands. Okay, so let's talk about what happens when your partner reacts by pushing on the hands. Again, I say it's a little old school because like, I think at the highest levels, people don't really fight the hands like this. If you watch wrestling, even MMA, it's not really effective to fight the hands like this for this reason. Anytime I feel my opponent commit both of their hands on my lock, they're giving me free access to getting to the side here. Okay, now once I get to the side, boom, I can mat return, okay, right? I can lift, sweep, okay? I can also knee bump, boom. I can do all that because Nate's hands aren't in a position to block that. Okay, so once again, if he commits his hands here, okay, you have side lift, boom, you have lift, sweep the leg. But I think the most efficient one, efficient meaning you can do this for 25 minutes straight if you needed to, is you block the knee with your knee. Okay, so hug the hip, attach the hips, block your knee with your knee, and then hinge forward. Okay, you're gonna see all the great, really good chain wrestlers, like especially in MMA, this is the main one they do. Okay, because the lifting, it's kind of taxing. You can't do that for a long time. But if you want to be able to like relentlessly chain, you're going to want to go with that knee bump, hinge them forward. Okay, so with that being said, what happens if my partner gets an elbow in? Okay, this is the harder one. Because if Nate gets an elbow in and I make that attempt to step forward and lift, he's just going to sag his hips and eventually my grip's going to break. Now he'll actually be in a deeper position to re-attack. So anytime your partner gets the elbow in, okay, what you guys want to do is preserve your lock. So right now that elbow in Nate's squat is putting stress on my lock here. Okay, so as soon as I feel that, okay, I want to take a step back. I want to put my chest behind Nate's hips here. Okay, you guys see how that slid my hand here? Now Nate's elbow is no longer inside on my grip. Okay, now for sure he's going to try to pummel on my hands. So I just have to keep circling in front. Okay, now notice I'm at the hip. So there's 3 positions you can take down from. Hip, body, okay, and then the armpit right here. Okay, so you got hip or under the butt, body, which is at the waist, okay, and then at the armpit. Okay, so I'm going to talk about finishes from all of them. Okay, let's talk about from the armpit. Okay, I think this is a very underrated position coming from the rear body lock and rotating all the way in front here. Okay, because if Nate tries to escape here, one, I'm under his armpit, so to pummel this hand is going to be very hard. And every time he tries to sag his weight, my weight's there. Okay, so I can literally hold Nate. I'm not flexing my arms, it's just my back. Okay, now Nate's going to try to escape, and I just stay hip to hip. Now when I'm ready, okay, I'm going to do 3 things at the same time. Okay, I'm going to flare my elbow to make my partner's back go over the hips. I'm going to take a step forward with my right leg as I scoop the left leg here. And notice how I don't fall with him. Okay, this is a great option for MMA that I also learned from Merab. Okay, watching him. He gets people in the cage, right? Again, got to give the references so you guys can understand, okay? He'll start kneeing, boom, he'll start kneeing. Nate rotates the other way, okay? And then he'll lock the body lock here, step in front, and then scoop the leg. Now you're in a great pinning position here. Jiu-jitsu, great. Mount, MMA, great. Okay? So how we apply that in the open space, okay? So real quick, guys. There's MMA grappling, still applies in real jiu-jitsu, guys. It's all grappling. I know I get a lot of people say like, oh yeah, but that works in MMA, but it's like all we're trying to do is take down another human body. Whether that's in MMA with punches or grappling with no punches, it will work, trust me. Okay, so Nate gets the elbow in. Okay, as soon as I feel that, I circle behind, chest goes to the hips here. You guys see how my lock moves? And I want an S grip with this, because if I go gable grip and I close my elbows, look at my grip. See my grip opens with a gable grip, but an S grip, I can close my elbows and it'll stay locked. Okay? And less strain on the arms here. Elbow in, behind the hips. As I rotate, I climb up to the armpit if I can. Okay, now flaring the back, step forward, hook the leg, and I don't fall with him because I want to control myself down so I land in a good mounted position. Okay? So that's if I can get to the armpit. Okay, if I can't get all the way to the armpit and I'm stuck at the body, okay? So for example, I'm circling behind, boom. Okay, and I get here. Okay, you guys can just do a simple body lock takedown. Okay, side lift. Very similar. Okay? Now let's talk about if you can't get all the way to the ribs or to the armpit. Okay, so I'm stuck at the butt. So if Nate's got the elbow here and I'm circling, all I'm going to do is keep my hands locked and keep running until I finish that double leg. Okay, but the idea is my hands never break and I just keep rotating all the way through. So we're here. Can we turn this way? So Nate's got the elbow, circle behind, circle, circle, circle. Look at where my hands land right here, guys. Okay, and the way I like to finish this, especially if it's someone big, okay, it's great if my lock is underneath the butt. Try to sprawl Nate. He can't sprawl. Now all I have to do is just keep running my legs. Okay, and then I can finish that double leg fairly easily. You just have to be persistent about running your legs. Okay, now the last one, I like to use this if my opponent is able to break my lock or if they're blocking my knees. So what do I mean by that? So he gets the elbow in, okay, and I'm trying to circle behind, but he breaks it. Okay, he breaks my lock, so right away commit to the single leg and finish here. okay? And even from that single leg, if you can't run the pipe, so again, I'm circling, but he breaks my lock mid-circle, okay? He keeps his balance, I can come back to the body lock. And then now we're here chaining attacks, okay? I also like to use this one if Nate's not fighting the hands, but he's blocking my knees. He's blocking my knees like this. So same thing, because look, now I can't go knee here. Now if I try to circle, he's also blocking me here. So what I do is get my chest behind the hips, same way, pull him back, and then commit to the leg. Here, and like I said, guys, from that head outside single, you can chain a bunch of different ways, right? I can go run the pipe first, is always the easiest, most efficient. If they keep their balance, okay, you guys can go elbow deep. You can switch up to lift. You can switch back to double A. You can switch back to rear body lock, okay? But the idea is to chain wrestle. So if you're trying to take down someone bigger than you or stronger, try to get behind them, okay? And be relentless with chaining. But in order to be relentless, you got to be efficient with your technique. So if you're using a lot of big lifts, big muscle moves, you're going to have a hard time, okay? Also, before we end this video, I want to talk about safety because, man, I've seen so many injuries from this position, guys, and I always have to remind my students the things we don't do. Okay, look, notice how all these positions, I'm not chopping at my partner's knee. So the crazy thing is, like, from the rear body lock, it's like such a good position, but because people don't have a system, they panic, right? I've seen it countless times, like people like sit on the lateral side of the knee and they pull over, boom, knee's done, right? Or they try to do like this scissor takedown and they don't have the stability with their base and all that weight crashes on their leg, knee done. Not necessary. Again, these are great techniques and there is effective ways to do them. Maybe if you grew up wrestling or you're familiar with takedowns, you know how to break fall. Your partner also knows how to break fall, but these are not safe moves to do in the gym, especially with people who are unfamiliar with the finishes. So I think these options, one, they're effective, they're efficient. You can see it at the highest levels. Again, if you guys want a couple matches, watch Merab and MMA, Khabib. I think MMA fighters have the best systems for this because they spend a lot of time there. In jiu-jitsu, like jiu-jitsu sport, obviously because a lot of people pull guard and not a lot of people engage in the hand fight, you don't see as many cases of it unless like you get guys like that actually stand up. So you could watch a Gordon Ryan match or like Nicholas Marigali. A lot of those guys, you'll see them using some of these finishes. Okay, but the idea is get behind your opponent and chain these finishes together, right? It's really good. And the idea is too, when you're practicing it, don't do everything like 100%. Just commit maybe 60, 70% and get good at, if you feel like it's too hard, just transition to the next one. Because the idea is like, if it feels like it's too hard, it's probably because this person's fighting a lot on that one. So if you can chain 3 times and I'm like giving 60%, my partner is working 100% to break out of the lock. By 3 transitions, their energy's probably done. And then you could probably finish with a lot more effectiveness. And then by the time you do get them to the ground, they're already fatigued from that stand-up battle. So it'll be good. I think you guys should definitely implement this game, especially if you're a beginner, okay? It's good to have these options that you know are safe and effective, okay? So let us know, guys. Go to the gym, try it out, try it at open mat. Make sure to always start with drilling with your partner first. This is not one of those things you want to do live. I know like ecological is big right now. No one wants to drill, but guys, with takedowns, you need a partner that understands how to fall. And you can't ecological out of that. You got to learn, you got to drill your way, learn how to break fall, talk to your partner, let them know what you're going to do so that they can give you a look. And once you get comfortable and confident with those mechanics, both taking your partner down and falling, then try to do it with a little bit of resistance. Maybe drill into the rear body lock and have your partner give you a look and then try to finish. Okay, but again, a very important sequence or system to understand. All right, guys, as always, leave us a comment. Let us know what else you want to see. And thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe to support our channel. Thank you.